What does the NAR court case mean to the consumer? Because the consumers out there, I don't feel, even know that this court case is even going on.
Well, today, here at our No BS Bar, let's talk about what that means. Play together, work together.
So join us.
Let's have a great time. You know, the NAR court case, and it affects the National Association of REALTORs, and a lot of the big real estate brokerages nationwide recently lost a national court case. It was a court case and they lost $1.78 billion, and they say that could actually be tripled to $5 billion. And a lot of people have heard about it, but a lot of people haven't. It's been in the Wall Street Journal and some of the national publications. And what it means is the lawsuit was brought because they said that some sellers had fixed buyer commissions to such a point that the sellers had no choice but to pay a certain fixed amount to buyer agents.
Right.
Typically, in real estate, we say that there is no fixed commission, that it's always been negotiable. But what they were saying was that you might say that, but pretty much nationwide, it had been fixed at 6%, with 3% going to the other side. And what they were saying was, as sellers, they didn't have a way of actually changing that. Well, the problem was that a lot of buyer agents were very inexperienced. The lawsuit, what it means is that the sellers were saying that the commission ended up being fixed. The real problem was they were paying the same whether it was a brand new inexperienced agent or whether it was an experienced agent that had done it forever.
Right.
So the problem that was coming across was that they just felt like they didn't have the ability to negotiate what the other side was.
Right. I understand that completely. Yeah.
And then unlike in other industries, they felt like that the other side, since they were paying the commission to them, that they were actually paying a commission to the other side that was negotiating against them.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
I'm actually paying somebody to negotiate against me. And then on the other side, the problem was that they were actually negotiating, and the worse they did, meaning the higher the price went, the more that person got paid.
Right.
So the buy side's looking at it like, oh my gosh.
Right.
The worse my agent does, the more my agent gets paid.
Right.
So the whole lawsuit came together as a class action lawsuit nationwide. And when the jury sat back and looked at it, they're like, this really makes sense that this system doesn't work right.
Right. I get it. Especially when they go out there, somebody who goes out there, they hire somebody like me. Somebody out there goes and hires a buyer agent who is absolutely brand new, who they may have found on a site like Zillow or something like that. They go hire them. They come in. It could be their first transaction ever. Ever. And they're going, why in the world are we splitting our commissions 50-50?
Plus, that agent, they really don't have a chance negotiating against somebody like you. And then the other thing they looked at was how it's done in the United States is a very small portion of how it's done in the rest of the world. The rest of the world has changed how they do real estate long ago. In fact, the way that it's done in the United States with the seller actually paying the buy side, the way we have it bundled together, is not done in probably 80% of the world.
Right.
In most of Europe and Australia and some of the other countries, it actually is separated already. And so what they're saying is, and in this lawsuit, there were actually a couple of major national franchises that were able to settle it before it went to the lawsuit.
I know.
And
people laughed at them, which we both know that they were smart.
And those companies, one for $84 million and one for $55 million, settled, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, that's huge numbers. Well, now in hindsight, those are some pretty smart CEOs.
Very smart.
Because the part wasn't just the money, the part that was in the settlement that now we've been able to see as they come closer to finalizing their settlements was their business practices that they agreed to. And those business practices where they agreed to claim, hey, the buy side's not free, which we've never been supposed to say that.
Which we've been actually doing for I mean, for 8 years, I've actually been disclosing, hey, this is, you're signing that you work with me
Right.
exclusively since day one of doing real estate.
Because
thanks
you're
to you.
you're going to work with them and they're going to trust you and you're going to trust them.
Mm-hmm.
You each have responsibilities
Correct.
to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the same time, they're agreeing that, hey, we're going to disclose who gets paid and how they get paid up front. And
Right.
that's an important thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what this lawsuit's really bringing about, besides maybe who gets paid and how they get paid, it's really bringing about transparency.
Right.
And I think that should have been there a lot longer, because I think one thing the realtor organization and maybe NAR has done is try to protect their own a little bit too much.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe this is really bringing about more transparency. So between you and me, I am really happy for this lawsuit.
Me too.
I think it's really does protect the consumer more. And I know a lot of realtors out there are going to not be happy with us saying this, but I think this is a really good thing for the consumer. And I actually think it's a good thing for our industry.
I do too, because I think it'll weed out a bunch of the part-time agents and a lot of the people who are inexperienced, and it'll do good for those of us who do have the experience.
I think it will too. So the lawsuit that's been out there, I think it's been a good thing, and I look forward to seeing it come to fruition and all the changes it's going to bring.
Absolutely, me too.
So, till next time at the No BS Bar, we'll see you
then.
soon.